This is a little hard to talk about because that wasn't clickbait on the thumbnail of the title. We are getting ready to say goodbye to our very much so loved Alliance Valor 44 V14. We literally just put the solar on. Good thing it's only for a week. Gotcha. And yeah, my hand's bleeding. Welcome back to Miller's in Motion, and that is true. We are leaving our 2024 Alliance Valor, but only for a week. As you know, we just got back to North Texas from the Alliance National Rally. In fact, that was yesterday. And we're going on a new adventure, and we're going to bring you the entire thing, but we are doing it without our RV. So what is it going to look like if you have to leave your RV for an extended period of time? For our case, a little over a week. We have the dogs, we have the RV, we have a lot of different things to consider, and there's a ton of heat in North Texas right now. In fact, it's about 92 degrees outside and growing, so that's why I've got some sweat happening here. So I'm going to take you around today and show you what we're going to do to prepare to leave the RV for a week in a heat scenario. So in case you're wondering, yes, it is uber hot in Texas still. And not still, but we're just now getting into the heat of it, and we don't RV correctly. We go towards heat. But the reason why we picked Dallas-Fort Worth to leave from is because of every other reason we picked Dallas-Fort Worth to leave from. A lot of the things we know are here. Now, this first portion is going to be dependent on what you're doing, where you're leaving from, and where you're going on this other trip. So for us, we are going to be leaving from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so it only made sense to bring the RV here because this is also where we're going to be ending the next trip. In addition to that, we're both originally from Fort Worth, and so the people that watch our dogs while we're gone, the vets, all of the things, our families, they're all here. So if there were to be an emergency situation, we can reach out to our families. They can come to the RV if need be. Not that they'd be able to help a whole lot, but they could try. And in addition to those things, like I said, we get to take the dogs to boarding, which is kind of where we're going to end this whole thing. But we're not doing that till tomorrow. So, and then the next morning, very early, we're leaving. So, where are you picking to leave your RV? Now, there's some RV storage options that you can always look into. For us, we like RV parks. And the reason why is that we can leave it plugged in. We can leave ourselves hooked up to water and a few other things. Take that with a caveat. We're going to talk about water in just a little bit. But it allows us to get back to the RV and kind of put everything back together really, really quickly because we never really truly disconnected anything. All right, let's start off with power. Now, there's a lot of things we're going to do to prepare our RV to actually leave. We're here under the front cap because we have this solar system installed now. And so because of that, if we were going to go to a storage situation, I would just leave it on. I probably would go ahead and turn my ACs off and create a low draw situation because as hot as it gets, if all three ACs start to fire up, I know that it can't run for 20 hours on just the solar alone. I can get overnight with the battery bank we have, and I can run a couple of ACs on pass-through for when we're in town. But for this scenario, we're going to leave it on as a backup system. So while we're over here on the service side, we're going to talk about a couple of different things, but we're going to stay on the topic of power. So I'm going to stay plugged in with the shore power on. So if you have that scenario where you are leaving at an RV park, you can do that. And so that'll allow us to leave the ACs on. We're still going to go around and unplug a bunch of things, turn a bunch of stuff off because there's no reason for everything to be plugged in and doing a draw. That way, if there is a situation where the power goes out, our inverters can kind of handle it. We're going to leave the air conditioners on though. But they should work a little more efficiently. And we'll show you what I mean here in just a little bit by what we're going to do in addition to help them out. While we're also over here, let's talk a little bit about water. We're not a big fan of leaving the RV in any capacity with the water on. We don't talk about this just a whole lot. We have a nice blue water filtration system on board, and we love everything about it. But when we get ready to leave, we're just simply going to come out and turn our water off. Now, something else I'm going to do in addition to that is I'm actually going to drain my lines as well. And so somewhere on your RV, you're going to have a low point drain. You should. And I'm going to clear both of those lines, and I'm going to turn my hot water heater off, regardless if it's propane or electric. And while we're on the topic, because I said propane, look, a propane bottle. It's a no-brainer. We're also going to turn off the propane bottles when we leave. there's nothing that needs to be on board that needs propane while we're gone. We're effectively going to shut the rig down as much as we possibly can, but also leave it to where we have some wiggle room if something were to happen and we had to get out quickly. So propane bottles are reasonably full. One's probably about half full, the other one's completely full. And all we will simply do is come out and turn those valves into an off position, and that's gonna be it. Another thing too is if you have gas stops, when we turn in the off position, we'll actually bleed the line just a little bit. That way we're not fully pressurized the entire time we're gone. All right, before we go inside and talk about a few things in there, you can notice we have our awnings out today. It's a sunny Texas day. I'm trying to keep as much sun off the side of the rig to keep the temperature as low as possible inside and give the ACs a fighting chance. But one thing we will definitely do is make sure that all of our outside lights are turned off and all of our awnings are stowed. So obviously if there's a windstorm, you don't want to be left out. Not even a little bit. We're just going to bring them all the way in and not worry about them while we're gone. All right, now that we're inside, and by the way, I'm not turning the ACs off. It's, like I said, 90-something degrees outside. It's hot. If I turn them off, I'll just try and fix the auto best I can, so if you get a little AC noise, I'm sorry. But as far as inside, obviously you can see we have our cool accent lights on, our main lights on, and all those things. Those will also be turned off. Not a big shocker there. We will shut all of those down so that there's no reason to have anything up. Something that we will definitely do as well, remember how I said about bleeding the propane lines outside? We'll actually turn the stove on just a little bit and we'll let that flame go down. We're not going to completely empty it, but we're going to let that flame go down just a little bit once the propanes are off, and that'll make sure that the lines are actually bled out all the way through. All right, here comes a big one, because one thing that makes a lot of RVs awesome are these huge slides. They're going to push out and you have all this room. Well, while we're gone, we don't have a need for those slides to be out. And to be honest with you, they are better insulated, not just from heat, but also from water and other things when they're sucked in. So one of the first things we will do as we are getting ready to leave when we go on our trip is we'll actually suck the slides in. Now, we're not going to go to the same lengths that we do on travel days. Like, we're not going to put everything away. We're just going to put everything away so we can bring the slides in. We will still wipe under the slide flaps just to make sure there's nothing down there, like a random screw head or who knows what. My luck, it's a golf tee, so we don't tear anything up. And obviously, we're not going to tie anything down. A typical travel day, we'll tie things down. We'll put the office away, especially in the toy hauler space. We're not doing that. We're not leaving anywhere very quickly after we get back from this next trip. In the RV, we've got about another week before we're actually going to move it, and so we're leaving everything for the most part exactly where it is, with the exception of we're going to bring in our two main slides and our bedroom slide as well. I know I said this in there, but in the toy hauler space, like I said, we're not going to tie anything down. Typically, we'd put a strap over the washer dryer. We'd make sure the ladder's stowed completely. We'd put straps over things, and I would pack my office up. That's right over there. We're not doing that. Now, because we're going to be gone for a week, I am taking my computer and some office stuff because, well, even though on vacation, you guys still deserve videos and those types of things. So we will be shooting the entire thing. So, and to be honest with you, one of the biggest time consumption things I do is file organization. Going through all the clips, because believe it or not, we only use about 10 to 15% of our travel video content actually makes it into the video. And that ends up being 500, 600, 700 gigabytes, sometimes a terabyte of footage. Now, we shoot in a high codex, which is code for a really big file. But if we shot just on our phones or GoPros, we wouldn't need as much space. But because I like to shoot on, well, the camera you guys are used to seeing, we have a lot of footage. Also, I need to go through my office and my computer bag. That's something I will do here in just a little bit, and go through that and really start to kind of dial in what I actually need. So make sure I have chargers for batteries, cables for the camera, those types of things, and then my laptop and its components. And then we have a couple of different hard drives we use when we do an edit. And then the rest of our file storage will actually stay here. I might bring one back up just in case we get really shoot happy and just fill up 8 terabytes worth of hard drives, which I doubt we will, but you never know. I've done crazier things. So something we do as we're getting ready for a trip is Lauren likes to make lists. She's a list person. I'm a list reader. I'm bad about making them. And so she puts the days leading up to the trip. That's what's going on. So like, for instance, Thursday and Friday, she didn't have a whole lot. But Saturday, she wants to go check on Stella and the rest of the horses. We want to wrap up. We do weekly financial talks about the businesses, about our personal finances. And so we're going to do that before we leave. A few other things. Also, when we have to take the dogs to boarding, because there's a specific window. And then just general kind of things. So like, here, I'll give you a clue. Lauren wants to go look for a swimsuit at Target. And so a little clue into what we're doing. And then a whole bunch of other stuff, like we're booking another trip for later in the year that we want to get that wrapped up and booked so we can move on. And then Father's Day is coming up, so I want to make sure that we get my dad something, and that's situated because we get back on the day after Father's Day, and so I want to make sure that we don't neglect good old dad, and he gets what he gets, and then put up cameras. Oh, that's a great point. Let's go back outside real quick. Okay, so one thing that we do that a lot of other people may or may not do, but right before we leave, I will actually go through and make sure that our internet is as rock solid as I can possibly make it, which there's not a lot I have to do. I'm just going to verify some speeds and make sure I don't need to put Starlink up, those types of things. Because one of the things we do whenever we're getting ready to leave is we have a pretty robust security system. And then that way, while we're gone, if we need to check on anything, we have these little guys. We have all these little Ring cameras situated all over the rig so we can see outside. We'll actually leave one on the inside as well, pointed at the front door, so just in case someone were to need to come in. And then obviously we'll make sure that we are set when we leave so that we get notifications if something's going on, if there's water in the rig for some reason, if there's fire. Our fire smoke detectors that we replaced are all compatible with our Ring. So that allows us to kind of keep an eye on everything as we're traveling, and it gives Lauren more than me peace of mind, but it does give us a little bit more peace of mind when we're traveling. So let's talk a little bit about trucks just for a second. So where we're going, we only need one vehicle, and to be honest, we don't really need that one, but we're choosing to use it to get to our other mode of transportation. I know I'm being a little coy with where we're going. It's because it's a big surprise, and you will get to find out if you wait to the end of the video, maybe the tail end of the video, maybe, but definitely next week. So as far as the trucks go, I'll just take kind of your common sense stuff. I'll take anything out of the truck that's valuable, those types of things. To be honest, I need most of that stuff. I also won't leave a bunch of electronics. We'll take all of that out and make sure everything's locked up nice and tight. And then the keys will go into the RV in a safe that we keep on board. That's just another layer of security for that. Also, just because we got back from the Alliance National Rally, I actually have our e-bikes down in the bins down here under the slide. It actually rained yesterday, but we need to get them out of the toy hauler space so I can put my office together for a little bit. And so they're still in their bins down there. So when we get ready to leave, we're just going to put those inside along with the grill. So those things will go inside. Again, we're not going to tie them down. There's no slides in the toy hauler space, so I'm not as worried about running into things. But we're just going to kind of put everything in there in a way that I can get it back out pretty easily. In addition to that, when we're done with all of that, we are going to go ahead and pull these stairs and that handrail up. For a moment, let's pretend like we're actually getting ready to leave here. So obviously the slides will all be in. I'm going to actually put our stairs away as well. The stairs and the handrail, I know that makes it pretty obvious we're not here, but I figured the slides being in make it pretty obvious. And so because of that, I'm just going to put them in, because the worst thing that happens if something were to fail, like the hydraulic leveling system were to fail, at least I know that the stairs can't mess anything up on the inside. The rig will just go down. So this one is by no means a necessary thing. I use it when we happen to be gone for a long period of time. I don't think anybody's going to try and steal an RV, especially this big in an RV park. But just in case, I actually do have a hitch lock for our fifth wheel pin. I don't always install it, especially if we're going to be somewhere for a short period of time. And so in this scenario, I went ahead and put it on. Just another layer of security. If it deters them from us to someone else's rig, sorry for that other person, but at least it wasn't mine. Sounds a little rude, but I mean, I'll be honest. I think we'd all prefer someone else's rig to get broken into than our own. I prefer nobody's, but if someone's getting broken into, I'd rather it not be mine. That's probably too much information. All right, I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of things, but obviously one of the other things we're gonna do is make sure all of our pass-through doors are locked, make sure all of our main doors are locked, which is our main living room door as well as our toy hauler door. We'll just verify that all that stuff is locked right before we actually get ready to leave. Now, we are having to leave at 5 a.m. Yeah, you heard that right, 5 a.m. You know we're a little crazy when it comes to travel, and when we do other modes of travel, it does not change any of that. So hopefully this helps you out if you're looking to leave your coach or your RV for an extended period of time. If you have questions, or if you have other tips for people that maybe we missed or didn't cover, leave them in the comments down below. We'll definitely have to take that into account next time. We may do them, we may not. I may have just forgotten to put them in this video, but we will make sure and move on. Oh, you know what I did forget? I forgot something else on the service side. Let's go over there real quick. Let's talk about that stinky slinky. So We will not disconnect the slinky, but what we will do is make sure all of our valves are closed. In addition to that, we'll also make sure that our Volterra handle valve, which is that extra one we put at the end of the cap there, we'll make sure that that's also closed as well. All right, we are back inside, and I am not turning off the AC once again because that's the next topic. We're not turning our air conditioners off. Even though we're gonna suck the slides in and shut everything down, we're gonna leave the ACs on. So the reason why we're gonna do that is we don't want it to get too hot in here. I mean, it could get up over 100 degrees inside the coach when we do things like that. So we're gonna leave them on. Now we might bump them up to like 78 or something like that, but we will definitely leave our air conditioners on. All right, let's sit and have a quick little conversation. We are incredibly appreciative of all of those that watch our videos. We've noticed as a trend that our travel videos, whether they're RV lifestyle stuff, that seems to do a little better than our RV how-to. I know this was a little bit of a how-to, but it's a segue to something else. We've been working now behind the scenes for quite a while on what the future of Millers in Motion is. But we need your help and feedback in this process because we've always said we want to make videos that we enjoy making, but at the end of the day, we want to make videos that you guys want to watch. So with all of that being said, we've focused primarily on the RV lifestyle and traveling with our RV. That's why we make a lot of videos while we're moving and when we're in new destinations. And then you can always tell a little bit when we're not moving as much. Like maybe we have something else going on, whether it's one of our moms dealing with cancer, the most recent, Lauren's mom. Maybe Lauren has a really busy month of work and we need to be present in North Texas a little bit more. But you can always kind of tell because we throw some RV how-to. Well, we are going to make a new commitment to bring you travel content. Now that is going to still mostly be in our RV. And please don't take this as we're getting rid of the RV. I know I did a little clickbait thing at the beginning of this video. That was just meant to be fun. But we want to bring you that travel, and we have a lot of really cool things booked. Most of which are in the RV, some are not. So we hope that you enjoy what is coming next from the Millers in Motions channel. But if there's something you really want to see from the travel world, please let us know. In addition to that, we have a little bit of a new partnership. And if you've watched to the very end of this video, you will get a little insight to what we're going to be talking a little bit more over the next few months. So we've partnered with a company called The Daily Drop. Now there's some very popular travel content creators by the name of Karen Nate. Back a few years ago, they started a company called The Daily Drop, which teaches people how to use points and miles to actually book free travel. And essentially, if you're going to spend money already. So what it is it's literally just that. And so we want to link their newsletter that they send out once a week down below. If you sign up for that newsletter and after all of this you decide that you'd like to sign up for a credit card and start the miles and points thing, we would appreciate it if you used our links. So miles and points is something that I've dove headfirst into almost 6 years ago now. And to be honest with you, a lot of the travel we're going to be doing that does not include the RV, which again, mostly going to include the RV. Don't freak out. Pearl and the Valor are not going anywhere. But a lot of the travel that we have, including the trip we are about to go on, we actually didn't really have to pay for because we used miles and points from select credit cards that essentially give you bonus miles, and then how you redeem them. It's kind of a whole thing in an art form to kind of maximize. And so what's really cool is this next trip, we only paid taxes on. So I think we ended up spending about $400 plus anything we get on the trip itself. So like incidentals, food, that kind of stuff. And obviously we're driving, we have to drive somewhere for a little bit first. And so our fuel and those types of things, that's not included. So, but any hotel stays, airfare, different experiences in these different destinations, cruises, a lot of these things you can actually pay for with miles and points. In fact, a trip we have coming up at the end of the year that we're doing with Lauren's little sister, Amy, if you didn't know, she just graduated high school. And that's actually what our trip is for this next week, is that she is officially graduated. And so this is a congratulations trip. Instead of a party or thing, she wanted to go on a trip. But we were able to use, for our portion of it, we were able to use miles and points to help book that trip and to bring the cost way down, or in some scenarios, make it pretty much non-existent. So if you are curious about learning more about the Daily Drop or any of the affiliate things there, We will have links down below in the description, or you can jump over to the website where we'll have information there as well. And we'll have different articles, and we'll start talking a little bit more of how we do this in the coming videos. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. I know I said I might give a little tease to where we're going, and I'll tell you, we're not going to just one place. We're going to multiple places. We're going to be gone for about 7 nights, and it's going to be down in Mexico. And if you've been with us since the beginning, you know I've spent a lot of time in Mexico with the business trip, but we're going in a way that we've never gone before. And by we, I mean I. I used to fly down there all the time. We're not flying. We have to head down to a cruise port. If you watch to the very end, hopefully you're excited as we are. But we're going to take you along for our very first cruise on the channel. And spoiler, this is not the last cruise we have booked. We actually have one booked with friends coming up very soon. Some people you may know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Mom, if you stuck through that little ending, I appreciate you. And we'll talk to you guys all soon from the road. Bye, Mom.